Hello and welcome. So if you've been watching lately, you know it's been all problem solving all the time around here, and I've been promising a return to a good old-fashioned financial model. So here it is. I'm doing, again, one of the old cases from the FMWC from the first round ever back in 2020. This is modeling the lifetime value of a cohort of customers for a software as a service company. So let me just show you a little bit of the intro from the instructions. I don't think we'll need to spend much time here because most of what we actually need is in the model. But so background, we're a software as a service business. They're planning to raise a round of investment and use the proceeds for marketing effort to significantly increase their customer base. And so the idea is they need to figure out how much can they afford to spend on customer acquisition by figuring out the lifetime value of a customer that they acquire. So here are the assumptions that we have. We're modeling a cohort of 10,000 new users. It's going to be 40% annual, 60% monthly, and split 30, 50, 20 between their basic, pro, and premium plans. So we've got over here the annual subscription cost for basic, pro, and premium, $99, $199, $399, and the monthly costs, $919 and $39. And then there's introductory discounts for both of those. And then obviously the key assumption here, we've got churn rates for both the annual and the monthly plans. So, 40% leave in the first year, 25% leave in the second year, and so on. And we've also got an assumption here for how long does the introductory pricing last. So that this lasts for the first year, this lasts for the first 6 months. And we're told to assume all these 10,000 customers join on the 1st of January 2022. And we're going to make a 4-year model, look at a terminal value after that, and away we go. So I realize in a lot of my videos I kind of make you watch me do the setup, so I haven't done that this time. I've just got a month counter along the top from 1 to 49. I'll explain the 49 rather than 48 for 4 years in a minute. The month end dates from January 21 to January 2025. The year number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then let's go from there. So first things first, over here I'm just gonna you can kind of do it all on the main tab, but rather than, so for example, to figure out the number of annual basic customers, I need this assumption, and this assumption. So, if I bang all those into one formula over here, it gets a little bit clunky. So rather than that, I'm just going to say over here, take my 10,000, lock it in, multiplied by my percentage annual, lock in the row so that it'll keep pointing to that as I copy down, but move over to monthly when I copy across, and then multiply that by the percentage here. And copy that down and across. That's going to give me my number of annual and monthly users by level, and you can see that adds up to the 10,000 total. So I'm just going to use that as my starting point. I'll just put this total new users. So then let's dive on in. I guess let's do users. So let's do annual. And then I'll do the same thing for monthly. I can spell. Okay, so that's my basic setup. So my starting number of users is just going to be, point to these. Oh, could I do a to call? Does it let you set the order? Yes. If I do that, and then scan by columns, sorry, make it true. I think that'll give them in the right order. So let's see, 12 times 3. Yes, that's running that right. Okay, so, and then I'm going to make this a different color because that's a different formula from what I'm going to have for the rest of the row. So then, now I'm going to want to be able to look up into these churn rate tables, and you can see the way they're set up right now. It's just text, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4 plus, months 1 to 6, 7 to 12, year 2 to 3, year 4, da 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 da. So I'm just going to edit this. If you're ever setting up your model, don't set it up this way. But if you inherit a model, then let's show you how you can fix it. So I'm just going to say starting year. I'm going to make this 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you want, you can format it so that it looks like it did before. So we'll say year and then the number. But now it's a lookup that you can look up into, and likewise here, I'm going to say starting month and make this 1, 7. Then year 2 will start in month 13. Year 3 will start in, well, let's just do this plus 12, rather than trying to do sums in my head. And again, if you want, you can format that to say, oops, to say month and then the number. And then the rest is fine. So I guess we're going to want to have a little flag for, say, an intro rate flags, annual and monthly. So for annual, it's going to be the year number is less than or equal to the number of years that we have introductory pricing for, which is just 1. I'll just make this minus minus to make it a 1, 0, and then I'll format it as a dash for a 0, so that then when we get over to year 2, it's just dashed out. And same idea here, it's just going to be, I'll copy down for the format, and then I'll say minus minus. The month number is less than or equal to here. Copy that across, so you can see I've got 6 months of introductory pricing for the monthly, 12 months for the annual. All good. Okay, so then I think I'm ready to do my churn. So here, the annual, I'm going to say if the month so I could just say equals 1 because we're starting from a January, but if I want this assumption cell to be this assumption cell over here, January 1st, 2021, if I want to be able to change that, let's say we're starting the model from the end of Q1, for example, then what I'll say is I want month of this equals month. So if we're in the month that we first started the cohort, and I'll lock that one in row and column, then we're churning. Otherwise, we're not churning. So if we're churning, then it's this times 1 minus our churn rate, and I'll use XLOOKUP for that. I'm going to look up the year. And now here's one very important thing that you could trip up on in this model. If you onboard the customer in month 1, then whether they're still there in month 2 is based on the month 1 churn. And similarly, whether they're still there, if you onboard them in January, then they're definitely still there in December, and whether they're still there in January depends on the year 1 churn. So that's why I'm referring to the year number, and in a minute I'll refer to the month number in the previous column rather than in the same one. Then I'm going to look up that in here. Returning from this array, and if not found, can be blank my match mode. I want exact match or next smaller item. And what that means, exact match or next smaller item, means that 1 will give me a match on 1, 2 will give me a match on 2, 3 a match on 3. This was, in the original thing, this said year 4 plus. So if I put in 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, those would all default back to the next lowest one, which is year 4. So times that. Now I'm going to end up with, so if it's not the same month, then just keep obviously the same numbers. So I think I've looked up 3 different columns there, so that's going to spill. So then I could do an additional match to just pull back the one of these 3 that I want, and then do that in each one, or I can just do one formula here for this whole thing, for the whole annual section, and then I just need to transpose what I XLOOKUP all the way over to there. And so basically what I'm saying here is look up the year, give me the list of basic, pro, and premium, and then shift it so that it's, rather than reading left to right, it's reading top to bottom, basic, pro, premium. And then obviously I want my number format to be good, and then I'll copy that across. And now let's just quickly check. I'm going to say 1 minus this over this should match my churn rates. So I got 40% for basic, 35 and 30, and that is indeed what I'm getting. So that seems to be working. Let's move on. So I'll just carry that across. And you can see it stays the same, stays the same, stays the same, stays the same. And then you get to the next January and it drops and so on across. So then I'm just going to, so then let's do the same thing for monthly. I'll just do this. So I don't need the condition to say if we're in if we're in the turnover month, because every month is a turnover month for the monthly clients. So I just need this times 1 minus, look up the month number, not the year number. And again, I'm looking at the month in the previous column. So you know whether the customers you onboard in month 1 are still there in month 2 is based on the month 1 turnover. So I'm going to look that up in now. I need to change these 2 references. So I'm looking it up here, and again, because I'm using that match type that says go to the next lowest one, 1 will give me an exact match on 1, but then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will all go here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 will all go here, 13 to 24 will all go here, and so on. And I'm returning from here. And then I think I'm just going to need to adjust this because these are set up as annual rates. So if I do 1 minus that over that, you'll see I'm losing 40%, 35%, 30% in the first month. That's obviously not right. So I'm going to take that whole 1 minus thing, I'm going to raise that to the power of 1 over 12 to convert the annual rate to a monthly rate. And then if I copy that across all the way to, oops, what have I done there? Oh, yeah, go away. Sorry, so copy that across all the way to here, then I should find, if I do my 1 minus that, that now over the course of the year I've got my no, 35, 31, 26, that's not right. Sorry, I guess I might need to put brackets around that to make sure that it's, no, that's not the issue. All right, what's going on? All right, let's do a quick check here. So I'm going to do this over this. Oh, sorry. Yes, of course, because in this case, we're not doing 40% all year long. We're doing 30% for half of the year. So what I would want then to check is the square root of 1 minus that. So times 1 minus this. So that's half a year of each of those rates would be 64.8%. So that's, yeah, leaves you with 35.2. Okay. So almost failed my own sense check there, but that is actually working. So we copy that across. Now I'm just going to have a quick look at a few of the questions to make sure that I'm not getting this totally wrong. How many subscribers? So annual pro plan in December, I should have 2,000, and I do. Monthly basic plan in February, I should have 1,725, and I do. Total subscribers in January 2022, I've got 6690, and that's right. Okay, fine. So that seems to be working. And then I guess I'll just put a total at the bottom of this. Don't want that to do a dynamic array because the rest of them are not going to be dynamic arrays. So let's just do this. Nope, 16. Okay, so my 10,000 ends up being 3,571. Fine. Now let's do pricing. And again, we'll do this. Sorry, never mind, delete equals. So my pricing, I've got annual here, monthly here, basic pro premium. So I'm just going to say equals if. So I'm going to basically pull back either this or this, depending on whether I'm in the introductory period, and then transpose it. So I'm going to say equals transpose index this array here, comma. So then the row I want is going to be, let's see, so I've got a 1 for when I'm in the introductory period, which is the first column. So I guess I'll do 2 minus, let's see, 7. And then the column I want is 0 because I want all the columns, and transpose that. So that's my pricing there. And then I should see that jump up after a year. and I do, happy days. And then my monthly, same basic idea, except I'm going to need to move this down 2 cells, so go 16 and 17. So I got 5,919 for 6 months, and then, nope. Oh, sorry, yeah, so this is still pointing at C7. I've got to make a point at C8. And so my sense check here was the price should be moving up here. So if I copy this version of the formula across, yes, 919.39, copy that all the way across, and it never changes again. 919.39, so we're all good. So then revenue, and again, I'll just, whoops, sorry. And it's just going to be this times this. And we'll number format that in a nice way. Copy down, copy across. That's fine. And then total again. Okay, and copy across. And sorry, people keep asking me, can you tell us what keyboard shortcuts you're using? And most of the time I don't even think about it. But so when I'm doing this, I'm using Control B to bold it, and then Alt HBP to do a line at the top, which is just a nice way to format a total at the bottom of the thing. So anyway, that's the revenues, and then we're going to do costs. So we have setup costs, and we have monthly costs. So setup costs are over here, so it's just depends on the plan. Okay, so I guess maybe we'll just do basic, premium, and pro then. So then we can say it's the number of users we're setting up in basic plus basic, or I guess I'll be a little more proper and I'll say sum ifs. This. Oops. $11. Oh, no, sorry, again, this one's, you have to be careful when it automatically converts your reference into an array formula, because the rest of the way across I've got 2 different array formulas, so the array anchored on this cell will only actually be 3 cells, whereas this one is 6. So I do not want to accept it converting that into an array formula. So sorry, try that again. I'll just go down 1 cell further and then manually take it back, and then lock in the rows. So if that where this is, and quick plug here, because people keep saying to me, oh, text functions are cool for solving Wordle and all, but you never use them in the real world, do you? I'm going to use it right now. So I'm going to say where that is something and this guy. And might even be able to make that one into an array formula. Yes. Okay, so that's my initial number, and then I copy it across. So that then I need to multiply by my upfront costs. And then I do not need to copy that across, because obviously by their nature upfront costs only happen once. I'll be a slight stickler and make that our red formula, although the fact that there's nothing here would probably tell you not to copy that across. And then monthly costs. And I'll just steal this whole formula. And then just change that G to an H, I think was the next, I think it's in the next column over, yes, H. And quick sense check, it looks like the regular cost here is 1/10 of that, here it's a little bit less than 1/10, and here it's much less. So 45,000 goes to 4,500, yes. 1,200, it's a lot less than 1/10, that's a 16th, yes, okay, good. And then, again, I'll just take this, copy it down here. And then we can carry that across. Can we? No, apparently we can't. Oh, yeah, we can if I lock in the reference. So lock that in, try again. Yes. Keep the format. Okay. So then let's just say total costs. And then we were interested in net cash flow, I think. Yes. or I guess I should call it direct cash flow. We haven't accounted for any indirect costs here. And that's going to be the total revenue minus that piece copied across. Now, so just to quickly explain, the reason that I did 49 months for a 48-month model is because of that same sort of quirk that, you know, your users from month 1 don't have their month 1 churn take effect until month 2. So to know how many users that you end up with, you have to model to the end of January, and the instructions said to kind of use that as the number of users you take a terminal value for. So we need to be a little bit careful there, but I don't want to take, I don't really want to look at revenue or monthly costs for that period when I'm adding them up. So that's fine. I think I'll just tread carefully as I go. All right, so let's just take a quick look at a few more of the questions. Total revenue for January, 474,800, yes. Total direct upfront costs, 250,000, it is. Total direct regular costs over the 4-year period, so this is one where I need to be careful, just pull back one row, 822,440. Nope, doesn't like that. Oh, sorry, that's because I'm including my monthly costs. So sorry, try again. I'm including my direct costs. So sorry, 572,440. Yes, that's right. Okay, contribution on a cash flow basis, total revenue less total upfront and monthly expenses for the cohort over the 4-year period. So again, I just need to be careful and sorry, I'll scroll down so you can see all the way to the end there, and not include the last month in the sum, and I get 23,441,539. Huh? Looks way too high. What is going wrong? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm claiming annual revenue every month, which is ridiculous. So, times, or we'll just do an if month. So if the current month, just like we did before, is equal to the month we started in, which I will lock row and column, then I want that. Otherwise, I want 0. Oops. So silly mistake there, and I'll just again apply that same format to dash out zeros, so it's a little easier to see what's happening there. Okay, so now try again. Good to have these sense checks. Direct cash flow is 4052819. Yes, that's right. Okay, discounted value of the cohort's contribution. Okay, so now I need my PV factor. So I'm going to say equals 1 over 1 plus my discounting rate. That's my annual discounting rate, so I'm going to take that to the power of 1 over 12. That's my, what am I doing? That's my factor month 1. And then I guess I'll just put in a 1 here as an easier starting point. Make that red. And then I'll just point to that, and then I can use the same formula the rest of the way across. So PV months 1 to 48, and that's just going to be some product. Yes, well, some if. So I did say I have to be careful here with this. So I'm going to say if that, I'll lock it in and then put the hashtag back, is less than or equal to 48. Should really have 48 in an assumption cell somewhere, but too late. Then direct cash flow times PV factor, otherwise 0. Sum that up, and we get 3,307,823. Good, happy days. Okay, so now we need to figure out a terminal value. So PV by type. And so let me just pull this up quickly. The formula we're going to use is PV, so multiplied by the number of customers, but the TV per customer is going to be the annual net income divided by the annual churn rate for your annual customers, and the monthly net income divided by the monthly churn rate for your monthly customers. Now, you could just kind of know this as a formula to memorize, but let's just kind of quickly explain what's going on there. So I'm going to grab my pen and my drawing tool. So if you think about it, you've got customers who are expected to make you sort of X revenue in period 1, and you're going to lose a churn rate of R of them per period. Then in the next period, 1 minus R times X. In period 2, in period 3, you're going to have 1 minus R squared times X. In period 4, you're going to have 1 minus R cubed times X, etc. So what you will hopefully recognize here is that you've got the sum of a geometric series. So your first term is X, and your ratio is 1 minus R. And so the sum of a geometric series is A over 1 minus R, where A is your first term and R is your ratio. So in this case, it's going to be X over 1 minus R, which is equal to X over R. So that's telling you the terminal value for the churn rate is just summing up the expected future cash flows. Now, there's two things here. One is it's good to know why you're using these formulas if somebody tells you, hey, just take this formula. But the other thing is it's good to be thoughtful about this. I would actually argue, if I were building this model, this is not quite the right formula to use, because you're not discounting. So you're going to take a terminal value as at whatever month. This is month 1, it's month 49. You're going to take a terminal value as at that point and discount it back by 49 months to get your present value. But that means that you're actually applying the month 49 PV factor to this cash flow, this cash flow, this cash flow, and all your perpetual cash flows. So I would argue that you should actually think of it as, X in the first month, and then, multiply by 1 minus R and divide by 1 plus your discounting rate in the next period, and then do the same thing, 1 minus R over 1 plus D squared times X, etc. And if you do that and plug it into the sum of a geometric series, you're going to get X over 1 minus R over 1 plus D. And if you kind of rearrange and tidy that up a bit, that's X into 1 plus D all over R plus D. And so basically what that means is you're when you take it on a discounted basis, you need to divide by a bigger number. You'll end up with a smaller number. Now, if your annual churn rate is way higher than your discounting rate, then it won't make much difference. But in this case, your terminal churn rate for your annual customers is 17.5, 15, 14, and your discount rate is 12%. So actually, it would make a pretty significant difference to your terminal value if you did factor that in. So that is something to think about. But in any case, I'm not going to say any more about that now, because if the powers that be tell you this is the formula to use for terminal value, you're welcome to explain yourself to them. But if you don't provide them the answer on the basis that they want, and you have not persuaded them, then you're going to get in trouble. So here we have the formula to use. I'm going to use that formula, and we'll go from there. So let's get my types here. Pull down my original list again. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different factors to put in. So we're going to have ending customers, and that's going to be from up here, very last month. Sorry, I need to get my nice number formats down here. That's one thing. Then annual, so revenues and rev. Sorry, I guess I should say revenue, because it'll be annual for the annual and it'll be monthly for the monthly, and then expenses and churn. So the revenues for the annual will be this at the end, so I'm just going to transpose that, drop it into all three, and the revenues for the monthly will be this at the end, so drop that into all three. Or actually, again, I could just point all of this up to where we had it over here. Sorry, 25. Then the expenses are going to be this times 12, so 12 monthly expenses for the annual, and for the monthly it'll just be this. And then the churn for the annual at the end is going to be this one here. And the monthly churn for this one is going to be, well, first let's get the churn rate, which is this. That's at the end. And then if we want to convert that from a monthly to an annual, well, let's see. So what we want to do is basically multiplying by that number every year, 1 minus that. So then we take that to the power of 1 over 12, and then we take 1 minus that again. And that will give us our monthly churn rate. And so then we get our TV, and that is going to be your number of customers times your net revenue over the period divided by your churn rate. And again, I want a nice number format for that, and copy down. So then just have a total here. And then let's see if that checks out also. Okay, so let's hang on. The next question is how many customers will remain at the end? It should be 3571. I think that's what I've got. Yes. Then discounted terminal value of the cash flows these customers bring. Okay, so it wanted me to go straight to discounted. So let's do PV, and it should be this times PV factor in month 49. And 3118828. That's right, good. Then total discounted cohort value, discounted contribution of the 4 years plus the terminal value. Okay, so total cohort value, that's just PV of the first 4 years plus the terminal value, 6426. Yes, good. And then LTV per customer is going to be that over the 10,000. And that is, whoops, daisy, and that is basically it. So I promise I'd come back with some normal financial modeling. There you go. Hopefully I made that a relatively quick one. I haven't actually kept an eye on the time. I always think it's quick and it doesn't always turn out to be. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.